Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this webinar on the Matrix Complete Tour. So we will be working for the next 2 hours on Matrix. So my name is Roxanne and I'll be with you for the next 2 hours. And we will be going through 4 specific different tools in Matrix. So I'm talking about the search engine, automatic emails, how to do a comparative analysis, and finally a little look at the stats that is available also, all within Matrix. So a little bit out. Talking any further, I'll just show you here if you ever need help on your different tools from Matrix. You have here Matrix and you do have the toolkit right at the bottom right hand corner. So if you hit the toolkit, you will have the webinars like the one we're doing right now, which is the first one here. These are all pre-scheduled, but you'll also have tutorials. So when you go further down, you have the pre-recorded webinars that you can watch again, as you please. Or further down, you have the short versions of all different aspects of Matrix, whether it's discovering the new Matrix, property search, auto email, which we'll be doing some of, comparative market analysis, we'll be doing that. And I will show you some market statistics in there too. So I'm going to do a little overview of all of these, but it's going to take probably close to 2 hours with all the questions. So why don't we go right ahead and access Matrix. Now, if you have any questions, I will invite you to use the questions box. As we go along, I'll just glance at them, and if it's something that I'll be coming up and showing you eventually, I will not answer, but I will answer eventually everybody for their questions. So first of all, we are now in Matrix, and our first tool to our left will be the search engine. So your search engine, which is probably the one tool you'll be going into most of the time. So the search engine, you can search through for single families, condos, farms, commercial, revenue properties, lots. And cross property here you may find interesting. Actually, I do, and I'll tell you why. If you're going to see row houses in specific towns, some are held as condos and some are held as homes. So depending on how the broker entered the listing, whether it's a condo or it's a home, they will all be together in the cross property. So cross property is basically going to show you any kind of property when you're asking for a specific area, whether it's a home, a condo, commercial, everything will be grouped together. So just to let you know, and I find that particularly useful if a client calls me up and says, I saw this home, it's at 123 Apple Street. Well, I can just enter 123 Apple Street in the city I'm looking for, and it's going to pop up, whether it's a house, commercial, or any combination of. So it's just to let you know that's what cross property stands for. You can also search by members. So again, your customer says, I saw a house listing by so-and-so. You can just go look for the member. I'll just take one that I don't have any listings right now, so everything got sold. So let me just go somebody I know that has listings, and I will search. And you can see their active listings right here, and they will show you their active listings. And like most people right now, we all have offers on our listings, and then we have no more listings. So it's just to let you know. Yes, you can search by broker. You can also see if there are any open houses or caravans that are organized. So if I'm looking in Laval and I'm looking at Chomedy, it's going to tell me I have 2 matches. So basically, it's always going to show you the results of what you're looking for at the bottom here. So if I want to see what my results are, I have right here the date. So this will be an open house on the 20th of August, 11 till noon. And this one is an open house also, 21st of August from 2 to 4. So we are starting to do open houses again, and it's just going to show you which ones are taking place on in a specific area. So those are two of the little exceptions, but we're going to go back right here in a single family home, and I will show you the general way of looking for a home. This is what you'll be doing most of the time. So let us go back to Laval. Then you'll have the choice. If you're going into Matrix for the first time, you may have all the regions across Quebec or just a few. The ones that will appear here are the ones you use most frequently. So it's just to let you know, the most frequently used locations will always appear in the region. Then you can choose your boroughs, but you can also choose by map. So let me show you how the map works. So if I go by map, I can jump to an address or I can jump to an area. So if I say Centropolis, let me see if it's going to pick it up. Laval, my search, it's going to bring me to the Centropolis in Laval. So here you have the option to shrink down just using your tabs or using the zoom in, zoom out. And let's zoom out here and let's make this more of a map. The view, I can change from satellite to map, which is something you may prefer. It's easier to see the streets. So let us say that your client is telling you, I want anything south of the 440, between the 15 and the 13. So you're going to cross over many municipalities. So what you can do at this state, we have different drawing tools on top here. So we have the circle, square, the polygon, which is my favorite, or the freehand. I really like the polygon because you start from a point like so, and you draw your own lines. So you can go around the water here, move this way, take 13 all the way up, take the 440, and I've defined my area. So I've chosen, using the polygon, which area my client is looking at. If I'm looking now at my results, I'll go back to my criteria. It's telling me that I have 95 matches in that area. If I want to see my results, I would click on result. I didn't put a price, I didn't put anything yet. So my results will show me all the listings. Now just to show you, these are in Chomedy. If I go to page 5, we're still in Chomedy. Page 10, we're in Laval des Rapides. So I was mostly in Chomedy, but one came into Laval des Rapides, so just to show you. So let's go back to our criteria here. So go back bottom left. We can always go back and forth. Now we have the options of active listings, expired listings, sold. You can put in off market or canceled. The asking price, so my client maybe has a budget of $600,000 or less. So you always need to put or less or more, or a range of. So I could have put $600,000 to $700,000 because they don't want to go, or maybe 500 to give it more of a range here. So between $500,000 and $700,000 in that same drawing, that map area I selected, there are 29 homes for sale. We can also ask if we were actually looking at sold in that same area. For sale, you want everything that's active right now. But if I had been looking for sold homes, so it's showing me 561 matches. However, if I want to see what sold since the beginning of the year, I would say the date range here will be year, month, and day, or from such a date to such a date, or since. So I'm going to do from January 1st and more. We're down to 119 matches in that area of homes sold. So we're going to go back to active. So same thing here, when you're doing a price asked, It's a range, more than or less than, but do not put just a specific amount because if it's $1 less, it won't show up. So you just be careful in the asking price. Same thing if you're looking for a home for rent. You will remove this and you'll just put here $1 or more, and you will have 17 matches for rentals. So if you're looking for a rental, don't put a price here, just put more than $1 and you will have all the rentals. So we're going to keep our $500,000 to $700,000 range. Then if we wish, we can select the type of property. If you want to select more than one type of property, so in this case I'm going to say bungalow or 2-story, I am holding down the control button. If you're using an Apple computer, it's the command button. So by holding it down, I can select more than one. And for sure, I don't want a mobile home. So now I am down to 29 matches. If your client wants detached, semi-detached, attached corner unit, or a quadplex, let's say they want detached, I'm down to 22 homes. So it's giving you a narrowing down effect according to the needs of your client. You can also select the years they were built. Again, year range. If they want more recent homes, I would say, let's say 2000 and plus. I would go here and write 2000 and plus. I'm down to no matches whatsoever. So everything in that area is older than 2000 construction. So let us remove this. And we're back to 22 homes. You can choose living area, but be careful. If the broker did not put in the living area on their listing, the house will not pop up. So you have to be careful for all the fields you will add from now on. If the broker did not specify if there was a basement or not, if it was over 6 feet or not, number of bedrooms total or above ground, bathrooms, powder rooms, parking. So all these effects, these different selections, criteria you want to put in. If they absolutely need 3 bedrooms, but they don't care if they're above ground or in the basement, then you will put 3 or more bedrooms. So we're at 22 homes. Now, just to show you here, the other options that we have at the bottom is your basement features, and you can put the and, or, and not. So if you absolutely want a finished basement, and we have 18 homes. If I don't put a finished basement, and if they didn't put at the same time 6 feet or more, one of them did not specify 6 feet or more, and yet we have a finished basement. See the difference here? So the broker did not include 6 feet or more in their description. So that's why you have to be careful, because if I asked only for 6 feet or more, that one would not show up. So we have to be careful about that. Same thing with the equipment. If you want central air, you have a whole slew of options here, the vacuums, the garage. So all these options, just remember, if you leave it at or, I always like to leave it at or. Now we need charging stations, so that's been added, but if you put it in and they don't have it and the broker did not tick it off, obviously it won't show up. So just remember to be careful as to for what you're searching, what's a priority for your client, and if you do this search with them, they will notice how the narrowing down happens the more criteria you put in. So if they're adamant to have a garage, you have no choice but to put at least one garage. So whether they have 1, 2, or 1.5, you're going to have 13 matches. So now we have 13 houses in Laval between $500,000 and $700,000 with a garage and at least 3 bedrooms. Now we do have some additional fields here that you can add or remove. In order to do so, The one that I always ask everybody to put in right away is the address. So I'm just going to remove the bathroom here and show you that example next time. I always like to put the address because, as I've mentioned before, we go back and I'll show you how to add items. If your client called you up and said, I saw that house and the address was, let me see the results first, I'll cheat. Okay, let's say it's 1850. So let's go back to my criteria. So if your broker called you up, not your broker, your client, and said, I saw the house, I think it's in Chamonix, the address is 1850, you can, even if I had not put anything on top, I could just put 1850 here. And automatically it's going to bring me back to that house. And it would bring me back right to the house they were looking at. So this was not the perfect example because we're doing a whole bunch of selections. But if they told you it's in Laval, they don't know which area of Laval, and you put in just 1850, I'll say clear the map. There's still just one match in Laval for 1850. So we're going to remove the 1850 here. And we're going to go back to, let's just go to Chamonix. So we have 20 matches here. So I showed you here, they could choose by the address, and the other fields, an example, maybe it's really, really important for them to have ensuite bathroom or ensuite powder rooms for the master bedroom. So I'm just going to put here, bathroom, and I will add, but just like I said, remember that if the broker did not put the information, you will not get the answer. So in this case here, I'm going to say I want an ensuite, either a bathroom or a powder room. And we are down to no matches. So none of these homes have the ensuite. But like I said, maybe they do, but the broker did not put the information. So always, always be careful as to what you select. And just remember, you're relying on whatever the broker entered when they did their seizing of the information for the new listing. So you have all these fields that you can play around with. Not if they don't want a pool, in-ground pool, you would just click ground, in-ground, not, you have 18 matches left. So you do have these tools, just always keep in mind, it all depends on how the listing was entered by the broker. So let us go see the results now. Let's go move on. These are my results. I am seeing them as partial right now. I have 2 pages. I can select how many I see per page. I can select how I want to see them. So if I go back here, partial, we have partial with photo, detailed, or a summary. So I usually like to look at partial with photo. So we'll have a photo and just basic information on the house that would appear. You can also have detailed. So in detailed is the listing as we all know it. All the details are in here. So whether it be the number of rooms, the year was built, and remember I said it all depends on what the broker entered. If I had asked for a specific living area, square footage, nothing was entered. So it would not have come up. So you really have to be careful. So in this case here, not much was entered. Sometimes they don't even put the heating system. In this case, it's dual energy. Basement, we don't know that it's 6 feet or more. I mean, obviously from the picture it is. There is a basement, but the broker did not put in the information. So because the broker didn't put in the information, if I had asked for a basement 6 feet and over only, this house would not have come up. So this is just so you keep it in mind. What else do we see on the listing? So we're going to go through quickly the top buttons here. The first button is your information button. So this is where you will see who the broker is, any information they're giving you, the commission, if there was a price change. So they brought down the price on July 15th to $600,000. All this information you see. This is a liquidator of a succession, so this is an empty home. You get the information of the owner. If there was a loan, they just wrote bank, which doesn't mean much. So all the information of the broker is here. Next information is share the documents. You all know right now, if I go back to the bottom of the listing, I would have the seller's declaration. They gave me the evaluation, the taxes, school taxes, and the insurance policy from our information. Now, all this information, you can just click on it and open it, but what if you want to share it? This button here allows you to share documents with your buyers. So what you do is you click on here, you select what you want to share. Actually, there's an open house. They're letting us know there's an open house, and it's going to show us when the open house is this coming Sunday, 2 to 4. So if you want to share the detailed listing with your client, the seller's declaration, you don't really care about the evaluation, the taxes they see on the listing, and maybe the insurance policy so they know about it. You click off what you want, or you just click the circle here and everything will be sent. You click on the international share button. You choose whether you want to send the measures imperial or metric. So imperial being feet, metric being meters. Next, you enter your client's email. You may wish to have a copy, French or English. So if I switch to English, the message would change to English. You can add a message like there's an open house. On Sunday, we could visit together. Okay, and then you share. In this case, I did not put an email or two. You can separate them with a semicolon, and you will hit share, and automatically your client will receive all these documents. You don't need to save them to your computer, send it to them. It's all done here, and it is a link that is good for a month only. So that is the share button. If I go back to my listing, we also have watch this listing. So this is a new tool. These two are new tools. So what is watch a listing? Watch a listing is allowing you to follow the listing. If there's a price change, if there's an offer until August 20th, in case it comes back on the market, you'll be made aware of the change. You will get a notification by email that there's been a change, and you will see the change. So if I look at the notifications I received and how this works, basically you're going to go hit watch this listing, and you're going to make yourself a note. So you can say for Charlie, in case the offer doesn't go through, and you watch. So you would be getting a message the moment there's a change. So if there's a change that says promise accepted until such a date, you will be notified. And to show you what it looks like, I have a watch listing here. Just to show you, the message received was for this house, there was a conditional offer and until the 17th, and the promise to purchase was removed. So automatically yesterday, I wrote to the broker saying, is this sold or is it back on the market? Because I was advised by the system right away. I wrote down for my client in case the offer was canceled. So in this case, it's not sold. It's no longer with an offer on it. So I'm able to get the information from the broker. So I send an email to the broker or email contact, and they let me know if it's back on the market or not. Another type of message you may want to see is, let's say you made an offer on a house, you didn't get the house, but your client's curious as how much it ended up being sold at. Same thing, you'll do a watch and you'll write price sold for Susan and Bob. So you're able to watch the listing without going back every single morning into your computer to see, oh, okay, this one's sold now, I didn't know. So that's what I'm trying to get to you. This is a tool to help you in your daily work. So that was the watch the listing. This is the walk score. So basically different lifestyles, where are the grocery stores, is it pedestrian friendly, schools, high schools. And then if I shut this down, then I'm going to get a level 6 as to where it stands as far as the distance of everything around them. Any information on the listing? Basically, it's when did the broker enter the listing? When they modified the listing. So every time you want to find out what's the modification they made, you just press on the arrow, and this was to advise of an open house, and they did do also, no, this is just the open house information. So every single arrow will represent number of bedrooms. Was used to be 4, they changed it to 3. Basement rooms, it was 1, they changed it to 0. So whatever changes the broker makes, you get to see. This is for irregularities. How frustrating is it when you're looking up for a house and there's a seller's declaration that's totally blank, or they didn't put any dimensions on the house, or something that's crucial to a buyer to know, and we have obligations. You can let the OACIQ, the real estate board, know that there's a problem with this listing if they missed it. If they do some advertising, the content of the photos, there's a copyright on the photos, inaccurate location on the map, anything that should be room size. When a broker enters 9 by 9 for every single room in the whole house, you know they didn't take their measurements. So they didn't do a good job. So what you do is right here, is you choose which irregularity it is. You can put in a comment and submit. It's confidential. Nobody's going to know that you are the one that sent the notification to the real estate board. So what you do is actually you're telling them there's something wrong with the listing, and the Quebec Professional Association is going to contact the broker and let you know that they've contacted the broker and let them know they need to correct the information. But it's all without knowing who declared that you had made a mistake. Oops, cancel. So that was that here. So let's go back. Leave. So that was your irregularities. This is also interesting. This is the history. So it's the history of all your listings. So I'm looking at this listing from 1960. I doubt it's the first owner. We'll find out. I go like the history. Yeah, it's the first owner. So let me find another one. So let me go back and find the next listing from 1961. And let's go look at the history of this one. There we go. So you're able to see the history of this house. Active listing, they put it up for rent or sale. It was a canceled listing, it was an expired listing, and here it was sold. So this is the last time it was sold with Centris, with a broker. And if you click on it, it's from 2010. And it's fun to see the old pictures and see the work that was done in the past 12 years. So it's just to let you know you can go check out the history of the house when you're looking at a house. And when they say they renovated the whole building, well, you can see through the history if it's true, what they did, if to you it makes sense. So that's the history of the listing. So that's the little clock. You're able to find also the communities. Basically, it's telling you the location, where the schools, remember the 6 schools and everything are located, the profile, what kind of population lives in that area, but just be careful, these are all based on Statistics Canada 2016. They have not been updated, but it gives you an idea of the languages spoken, so it's mostly French, but there's other languages and some English in there. Immigrants or not, and this, like I said, this was based on 2016 statistics. I'm sorry, there was other buttons here that you could have looked at. Real estate statistics on that area, sales, how they're doing, up or down, and other links that you could find useful to the city website, Discovering Laval, Tourism Laval. So you have all kinds of information that could be useful when you're writing up a listing or you want to inform your buyers. And the last button here would be your access to Instinet forms. So this was the first half hour on all the search tools that you have when you're working with Matrix. Now, what if my client wants me to keep him or her up to date on everything that's new in that area? I can create an automatic search. So how do we create an automatic search? So, automatic search for your client. We just did, let's say, the search. So we did our search. So what we do then is we go to the bottom and we go to the save button. So if I'm hitting save here, it's going to ask me, what do you want to save? Just your search? Or do you want to create an automatic email? So what does an automatic email do? Is with all the criteria that we put in. The moment a broker enters a brand new listing, your client will receive it. So how does it work? You do your search. You do not select any homes. You just keep everything there. And you go to a new automatic email. So first step, contact. So if you did not create a contact, you can create one now. And what I usually do is I create myself as a contact for my clients that have no emails. There's not too many of them, but they do still exist. So the yellow fields are compulsory. So you would enter the first name, last name, email address. If there's more than one email, you can do a comma. And you would save. So I'm gonna just go here and put, actually I'm not gonna do anything. I'm gonna cancel this and I'm gonna go choose one of my clients and I'm gonna choose myself. So let me just go here and say more, because I did create myself as a client. Where am I? Right here. So I created myself as a client with a different email, not my brokerage email, or else it won't accept. It's going to say, well, you're already a client, you're writing to yourself. I'm going to put a subject. So in this case, I would say for Mike and Susan. And they're going to receive a first email introducing them to the automatic search, which will include all the houses we saw together. Then, whenever there's a new house that's come up, they'll receive the recurring email, which is saying one of our properties meet your criteria, see them, and then they have a link to look at them. This is all automatic. You can change them. You can create your signature. So edit your signature, you would go here and edit your signature for the email. And then you choose which language you want to use for this client. You may have French client, you may have an English client, so you can switch to French, and the text becomes in French. If you're working always in English, you can always leave it in English. It's going to be English automatically. For myself, it's going to show me the criteria that I chose for this customer, which was initially Chamonix, between $500,000 and $700,000, any type of home, detached, 3 bedrooms, 1 garage, and no pools. Those were the searches we did. Then we have different settings. So what is a concierge setting? A concierge setting is that you will receive the email before it is sent out to your customer, and you are going to choose which ones you want to send to your customer. So you would receive a message saying, Matrix is going to alert you on your home page, and I want it by email also, so I know something came up for my client. And that way, I can go into Matrix and choose which ones to send to him or not. And how does it appear in Matrix? Way at the top, you would have a bar here that's going to tell you some listings to be verified. So it's going to give you a message when you walk in, and you just click on that message. If my client is more of a self-doer, you may want to just, and you can also, you can also save on your home page as a favorite. You can save up to 10 searches, so you see, I'll show you right after what happens. Then if I remove the concierge mode, I have to set up a schedule for my client. So obviously I would send it as soon as possible to my client. The moment the broker activates a new listing, the email will go out to your client. So you don't have to be sitting in front of your computer every morning, going through all your 5 or 6 buyers, going through their listing, like what they're looking for every morning, see if anything new came up. This will automatically do it for you. The other options were daily. If you have somebody that works a night shift and they don't want to receive it till the afternoon, you can just remove AM because they're in bed or whatever reason you choose when they will receive. I prefer the as soon as possible. They open their emails when they feel like it. And obviously between all of us, monthly is outdated. It should not even be there, okay? And then you save. So what happens when you save an automatic search? I will show you some of mine. They're called auto emails. So I'll show you all the searches that I have going on right now. So these are all my searches for my buyers. You will notice some of them right here. Nicole has 4 different searches. Why? Because she's looking for either a condo or a house, but the price is different for both items, or maybe if she can find a lot that's 10,000 square feet or less with municipal services, or a lot that's 30,000 square feet with no services. So she has, her range of product is varied, so it's all different searches, but the location is always the same. So I had to create 4 different searches for her, and I gave it names that would tell her what is it that you're receiving right now. Now, what I like about this is your polar visits represent when's the last time your client went in. So I have here, obviously she's active. She went in there yesterday to check what was sent. These were Sunday. Nicole, she got one here yesterday, and it's 6:28 this morning. So you're able to view at a glance which ones of your clients are actually active. They actually look at what you're sending them. You're able to tell. Now, I have one that's, look at this one here. This gentleman hasn't looked since last September. So what would be your reaction? I have one here, and I have, well, this is only because none came up, but here, I know what he's looking for has come up, but he hasn't been researching since last September. So I guess now is the occasion to either flush that search or call your client and say, are you still looking? You haven't been on the system for a while. So that's what you should do. Now, also, when your clients are working with this and you train them properly, you're going to be able to see what they like and what they don't like. So I do have a young couple that I'm working with right now. I'm just looking for them. Hold on. Very active. I think it's these guys here. Hold on. No, right here. So I can click on the little arrow here and I can go change their criteria, but I can also open their portal. This is what I want to do. You can also delete the email. So I'm going to open the portal because it's going to tell me if they did work properly, which they didn't. It's going to tell me what they like or not. So if I were to click on favorites, they did click off some favorites because they're able to rate the houses whether they're favorite, possibilities, or if they were discarded. So they have the options when they receive them to rate the houses. In these cases, we probably did some offers and they ended up being sold and they didn't get the house. They do have a low budget. And then we had some possibilities. They didn't put anything and in discarded either. So they had only put 4 favorites, but at least I know, and they can send you messages also. Can we go visit? That's been sold since, that was back in May, but they were able to send me a message there, okay, which we would have to look at. So when you open the portal, let me see if I have other clients. I had a client that we found their house. If they've actually took the time to rate the houses, open the portal. Okay, let me explain something else here. A brand new house came on the market here. Why do I know that? It's because it's in yellow. The yellow bar means they did not look at it yet. It just came out today. So probably they're going to look at it tonight, and I may get a call if they're interested. It's just to show you that whenever there's a yellow bar, it was sent today, but they haven't had a chance to look at it. So you're able to see what they're doing with their listings. Not only do you see it in my matrix right here, but if you do go on to your matrix main page, my recent portal visitors also appear here. So you're able to see them at a glance right here. Like I said, you're only able to keep 10, so I only have 10. But it's showing you the latest portal visitors right here on your cover page. So this is how you set up an automatic email for your clients, for your buyers, so they can see what just came out on the market that's readily available to them and ask you for a visit right away. You can go back to your, oh, by the way, if you want to see your recent searches, you just click here and all your most recent searches are here. So if we go back now, let's just choose one. So if they're asking you to say, I saw this house, I really would like to receive the documents, you click on share the documents and you send it to them by email. So we did the search, we did the automatic email. Let us go into your comparative market analysis. This is going to take a little while. You all know that this takes more than 20 minutes to make, but let us go see how we can do this today. So your CMA basically is going to be a professional report that you're going to create for a client so that they can compare what they want to buy or what they want to sell to what's been sold recently. So let's start a new CMA. We're going to do it together. Now your CMA, same thing as with your automatic email. First step, either create a contact or choose a contact that you already created in your listing. So I'm going to go testing. It's going to be whether it's English or French, and we're going to put a description. So let us go say, we may not have an address, but let's stick to Chamonix. 2-story house, 3 bedrooms or more with garage. Let's call it that. Sometimes the description can be the address. I will show you a completed one afterwards. Then we go, it's all in the bar on top here. So then we go pages. So these are some that I have set by default. So by default, I included the presentation page, the explanation of what a CMA is, details and adjustments, the pricing, the ask price versus the selling price, the map layout, which is going to show me the houses that sold around it. Why doing, these are all written for you. Why do business with a broker? What's a compensation? What protects you as the seller? What's our corporation? And how to make a good first impression if you're selling a house. So notice how I single family description here. So basically, if I go into single family, I have the ask price. I chose these items here. And how do you include them here? You would just say details of comparables, click on it, and then you can move it up to where you want to show. And if you want to remove it, you just exit out and it's back. So depending on the types of houses, you choose what you need to get in there. So we've chosen our pages. Now we need to choose our subject. Our subject, we have the options of putting in the fields manually, or we can use an old listing, an old sold listing, which is the same house that we're going to put back on the market. So in this case, you would enter the old Centris number and hit fill, and it's going to fill in the fields. Or you can search for the listing to autofill the form. So let's go look into Laval, Chamonix, sold, and we're going to say detached, total bedrooms, we said 3+, garage 1+. Naturally, there are over 1,000 matches. Let's say sold since 2000. Is that too far? No, too many. 2010. Jeez. 20. I just want to choose a listing. So result. So I'm going to choose. Let's use a nice big home here. Let's choose this one. There we go. So it's a brand new construction. And we're going to say selected and fill from the selected. So whatever information was there beforehand, whatever picture was there beforehand is going to appear. The address we have. Now, Centris number will remove because, and so will we remove the sold. You have the square footage, 2022, which is the good year. I guess it just got sold. Asking price will remove, so they just bought it and decide to sell it again. So we fill in the fields. If we have extra fields that we want to fill in, obviously this was a newer house, so not much to be done. Maybe we can change here and say roofing. Okay, and we're going to say brand new. New 2022. So they bought the house, they redid the roofing. I'm going to cancel this one. to the custom field. There we go. Now, if we did not have a picture and you had a picture on your phone or a picture on your computer, you can always insert those pictures by browsing your computer and inserting the picture. Usually if I have an evaluation to do, I usually drive by before I do the evaluation and I take a picture. It looks more professional. You can also put in remarks. And if you want to put the latitude, longitude, which helps locate the house, you can use the locate button and locate the house on the different streets of Laval. So we've corrected this field. Then we get the presentation page. So who are we showing this to? So we're going to say Mike and Mary, who live at that address, which I didn't take note of, but anyway, and maybe their phone number. My information appears automatically there, and I can edit it, or I can override it in this case. Now we have to find comparables. So we have to add from listings. So we're going to go look at listings. And we're going to say, this was, I think, if we recall, construction 2000 to 2015. And obviously, we're going to look at $800,000 and more. We're down to 132 matches. And we're going to specify that it's a 2-story home. And that is detached. And see what the results are. There's 99, there's a lot of them, but so we have the distance from our location. So let us just choose anything that's less than a kilometer away from where we are and use those. So I just chose off-hazard 6 homes that are close by. Why 6, you will notice. So I'm going to add my selected homes. Select them all. And we're going to check the map. So basically, we're very concentrated where my house is here and the other ones are all close by. And then we reach the adjustments. This is where the fun begins. So what are the adjustments? We basically took homes that were all basically the same price except one. The adjustments, see, 2 of the 6 put in this living area. That's why I'm saying to you before, if you put a specific living area, you may not have the house that would show up because 4 out of 6 brokers did not put in the information. Even the lot area, I'm surprised, nothing was put in. That means the broker didn't even bother to put the size of the lot. I mean, it's not like we don't have that information. We can always go in the Registre Foncier and find that information. Your built, okay, so we have a bit of everything. So I can go back and switch my search to, I'm 2013, so I must have put the wrong year. So I'm going to go back to my comparables and I'm going to remove the last 2 because they're too old. And then we're going to go back to adjustments. So now, oops. The opposite, remove the selected. Remove selected. You sure? Yes. Okay, so now we go to adjustments. We now have only 4 homes. One is older, but it doesn't matter. Then we have the assessments, number of rooms, which really implicates every single room of the house. And it all, again, everything's depending on what the broker put in. I normally take the time to choose homes that I know are very comparable, and I take the time to write down those numbers and select those homes specifically. Number of bedrooms. Notice the square up here. So this is where there is a book called a CCR. Unfortunately, I think it's only in French. And basically it gives you the value of bedrooms, value of granite counters, value of hardwood floors compared to ceramics, to laminated floors. It gives you the cost of everything to build a home, basically. And it does have different sections for duplexes, triplexes, older homes, newer homes, high quality homes. So they have all this information in the book. You can address to ccrquebec.ca is the website where you can get the information. And like I said, unfortunately, as far as I'm concerned, it's only in French. But it is a book that can help you adjust your prices like we learned in school, how to make adjustments for different flooring, different, even the outside, whether it's stone, brick, aluminum, or vinyl. It gives you the cost per square footage of all those coverings. So in the number of bedrooms, just out of the blue, let us just say that each bedroom is worth $5,000. My home here had 6. So basically what the system does is it adds the value of an extra bedroom that's missing here and the 2 that are missing here. The system does it automatically. Now if we move on, obviously same thing can happen for the number of baths. Between you and I, we both know, we all know, that a bathroom could cost $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. It all depends on what's in the bathroom. So just for the exercise here, let's just say it's worth $10,000. So what you're noticing here is the initial sold price was $900, but to bring it at par to the value of the house that we are listing here, we had to add the extra bathroom. We have 3, they have 2. So the system added $10,000 for that and added $10,000 for the extra 2 bedrooms. So we're now at a value of $920. And it goes on like that for the different sewage systems, water supply, forced air. Everybody's got the same thing, so there's no adjustments to be done. Everybody's got over 6 feet. Oh, fireplaces. So how much would we say a fireplace is worth? These days, maybe $12,000. If we're on Montreal, we're not allowed to have them, so they're worthless. But we are in Laval, we're still allowed. These are all gas fireplace, so how much does it cost to install a gas fireplace? Well, I actually was looking for one for myself. It was actually $15,000. So let us use that price. So I'm going to add one to this house, and then add one fireplace to this house too. In-ground pools, this could be debated. These 2 don't have an in-ground pool. We know that it costs a lot with also the land around it, planting flowers, doing stonework. I mean, obviously, a heated in-ground pool can cost you like $50,000, $100,000. It's so crazy. But our clients really want them. So let us just use $50,000, which is very basic for the needs. Siding, brick and concrete, brick and vinyl, so you can do the adjustments. Parking in a driveway. If there's a garage built in here, it says garage, but there's no definition of the garage. Single garage. We're going to assume everybody's got a single garage. No water access. We did a brand new roof. The other ones maybe don't need one. Maybe they did the same thing. Let's just keep it this way for now. Notice how the selling price here was an average of $1,052,000. And with all the adjustments we've done, it's now up to $1,001,000 as an average. So it went up by almost $50,000. Let us go to the pricing now. It's showing you the same numbers. You can suggest a list price, and you have 250 characters to do so here. I'll just write anything so you see what happens. And then you can enter many more characters here if you want to put more information. Up to 1,000 characters here too. So I'm just going to say I did adjust for the dug-in in-ground pool at a very low cost, low total cost. And then we're finished. Now, all this work that we did together right now, we're going to view what the CMA is going to look like. So basically, you have a cover page with your picture, your information prepared for Mary, Mike, and Mary for this house that they want to put back on the market. The second page, we said description of what a CMA is, explanation, so it gives them a pre-written text that you cannot change. And here's why I like to put even number of comparables. Obviously, this one has a single garage, this one has a double. Maybe I would have changed the subject here. This is an older style, this is the same style. You do have to look at the comparison. And the adjustments were put here. So see here, they just put parking, garage, no information whatsoever was put in here. That's the one. So I did not know it was a double. I would have if I had looked at the house beforehand. But I mean, if they had written double garage, I would have made an adjustment and brought down the price to make it more like my house. You're always trying to bring it comparable to your listing subject. So brand new roof, it was only 9 years old. There must have been a problem, whatever the reason. So all the adjustments show up. And there's always your subject, 2 more comparables. And finally, when we did the summary of the comparables, our 250 characters here, 1,000 characters here. Then it's going to show them the price asked versus the price sold. So we have the scale here. Asking price was blue. Sold price was green. So everybody sold over the asking price in that area. The map layout. Then it gives them the addresses. And then remember we had the texts that were already written for us, the advantages of working with a broker, what the compensation is for, means you're being protected with the OACIQ, what's the collaboration between brokers. So all these texts are already written for you. It looks very professional. And then the 6 golden rules to make your property attractive to buyers. I mean, we did take a high-end house right here, but when you're taking a house that hasn't been painted in 20 years, they mention it for you. I mean, it's just make it look clean, make it look fresh. Let's try to attract buyers. So this was my CMA. I can always go back to my comparables and remove the second one just to show you what happens when you have an odd number of comparables. So if I finish and I view my CMA now, you're going to see what's going to happen. We'll still have the same number of pages, but one page is only going to have 1 column. So what happens is here we have 2, and now we have just an empty space here. So if you're able to always try to find an even number of comparables so that your pages are always full. So it's just a little trick of the trade. So this is how to do a CMA. You can go back and forth, and once you can also insert inside the CMA some personal pages that you've made some stats, and you can email your CMA to your customer. So I'm going to save it and close. And now if I go to my CMAs, it's right here. And if I look at one that I've done recently, view the CMA, your CMAs are only kept for 90 days, by the way. After 90 days, they disappear. And truthfully, today's markets, it changes every 90 days. So if we're going to look at my CMA, that was done for this. This was a true one that I did for a customer. So as you can tell, I went by the house, I took pictures. And it is in French, but I went and looked for comparables that really were similar with a garage, or if they did not have a garage, I adjusted. I took off 25, I added a garage for $25,000 right here, if you look here. And I took another one here, another one here. So these are all similar homes in the same area that I adjusted. I put my comments, and we sold right at the price we had mentioned. So it really was well done. My target price was what we got. So it's just to show you which area we were in, where we were, where the other ones were. And when you do your work properly and you take the time to evaluate the differences between each house, you're able to go in and compare. And you can always go back and make modifications to it. You can add more homes, you can delete homes. So you're always able to go back until you actually hit the little button here and delete the selected CMA. And it will no longer appear. So you're able to practice. The only hard thing to do is when, see, these people had actually bought the house brand new. And what I had to do is when you start up the actual CMA, I didn't want to view, I wanted to modify. Well, actually, I'll show you. On here, all these fields that appear before you, I had to fill it in by hand. So as you can tell, if it came from Centris, it said Terrebonne, and West. I entered Terrebonne, and West. So I screwed up. I didn't write it the same way Centris does. It's just to let you know, you do your best, residential. Here they said Maison Plein Pied, and I just wrote Plein Pied. So it's just to let you know. And so it, standalone, detached, I had just wrote standalone. So it's normal. I can go back and change it. I'm just saying, don't be surprised if the word you use is not necessarily the same word across, but it means the same things because you didn't use the exact wording they did, but you can always go back and do your modifications. So those were the reports, your comparable reports that you can do. And like I said, remember, when you're going on your matrix Centris zone, if you want to see how to do a CMA full details 15-minute long webinar, you just click on here and it's a YouTube video you can listen to, and it's a full pre-recorded webinar. Same thing for the auto email. So the auto email right here is a 42 minutes on how to do your automatic email and all the little technicalities of it, which I get the complete tour, so I have to do everything and combine all these webinars into one. So now we're going to go actually to introduction to stats, which is an hour. So if you maybe feel you're being rushed, but I look at it as more as a teaser. So just to show you everything you can do, and then you can go back, practice, and listen again to these webinars and get back into it, whether it's the long recorded one or the short versions of just specific items. So let us go back now to Matrix, our recent search, and let's go have fun with our stats. Whenever you do a search for Matrix, you can also get the third button right here, which is called statistics. So in the statistics button here, you have a guide. So your guide is going to explain to you how the statistics are calculated. So this is the French version. And if you go down, you will have the English version. So the different formulas, the examples, how to interpret the information, seasons, the results. So it's just giving you a heads up on how to think when you're doing your stats. But now, to do your stats, in this case, we have our recent 18 homes in Chamonix. We'll stick to what we were doing. And I will just hit statistics. So every one of you has, by default, automatically, these 4 statistics right here. The average selling time, the median price, the number of active listings, and the number of sales. These are based on the last 5 years. So if I look at the average selling time and I generate, it's going to give me the numbers for Chamonix, for what I've just been looking at. And if you look at it here, it's really going to say from the total listings right here, 2017, selling time was 120 days, and we all know how the market has been going. We've gone down to 50 days in 2022, averaging. So it's just to show you the chart. But if your client is more inclined with numbers, you can just choose data. And it's going to tell you, since 2017, the average selling time, just the exact number of days it took in that one specific area. So data or chart. So that was just the average selling time. How about the price? What happened with the price? So we're going to see median price. Now you all know the difference between average and median price. So the average price is all of the sales combined divided by the number of sales, whereas the median price is the price in the middle. So we're going to generate median price. And we all know, again, if you were to sell 5 years ago, it would have been about $240. Right now, we're talking $400,000 in 2022 for the same homes in that area with 3 bedrooms and a garage and a dug-in pool. So you see it almost doubled in 6 years, and we see the big changes there. In 1920, it went up. 21, everybody said it would stop there. No, it just kept going. So recent searches, let's go to the same 18 homes. Stats, I can go this way also. Number of active listings, let's generate, please be nice. There we go. So we have it right here. So this is showing us the number of active listings, and you can see the trends. See how it always goes back up here, back down, back up near July, back down. So we can see the tendencies over the last 5 years. And you can see in data, by month, you can see how it goes up and goes back down. By December, it all goes down, and then it goes back up. So it's just to show you the numbers, number of active listings. It's been low since we saw here the lowest seasons here. And finally, the number of sales. So these, you just click a button. So the sales were about 30 or so listings, and then all of a sudden, 2020, market went crazy. We basically doubled. Another 50% more, like 100 sales in 2021, and right now we are in August, we're already up to 63 sales. So we're gonna get there again this year. So it shows you how many homes sold, how crazy the market was here. And these are stats that are always available to you. Whenever you're in Matrix and you're doing a search, let's go do condo search in Laval. Let's go do Laval, and let's go do let's keep Chamonix, or yeah, let's keep Chamonix, and the results. And then the stats button right here or at the top, it's the same thing. Average selling time on condos, generate, and it's going to be based on how condos all of a sudden didn't take long to sell. It was about 40 days. But the prices, they flew up also. Not as bad as homes, but they also went up quite a bit. Active listings, they went down drastically. We had like 600 listings up until 2018, and then it just went down. So that explains the price hike, and the number of sales obviously is also going to be corresponding to the number of listings, but we do have the number of sales for the past 6 years. So these are just the basic stats. All you need to do is click, do a search, click on your button, and you can tell your seller, these are the sales in the past 6 years. Look where we stand. Look at the prices. Look at the delays. If you ever want to know more about statistics and go more into a detailed search, I do suggest that you follow the advanced statistics, not the level 1, which is basically what I showed you now, but the advanced statistics level 2. You're going to be impressed by everything you can do in there. So just to let you know, if you ever want to go and do more, like you saw mine, I do have extra statistics here. These are my personal ones that are more detailed. You can do relationships between price and delays. There's a whole bunch of comparisons you can use. You don't have to have green bars. You can choose colorful charts. Actually, let's just use this one, and I'll generate it with the current search criteria. And there we go. Purple charts, different looks, different comparisons, but that's the advanced statistics. It's another long process, but it's really worth following. I don't know if all of you are brand new brokers, if you're brokers that have experience, but I know what I've just showed you is really a lot of information for one little 2-hour training. So what I would ask you right now is, using the questions box, is there anything you'd like me to redo with you, to go over? Do you have any questions? Please use the questions box, and I will gladly answer all your questions. I know it's a lot to assimilate in such a short time. Best practice is practice. So you can do all kinds of researches. If you're going back and forth and you realize you've just lost your search, remember your most recent searches are always there. So you can just click back on them like we've just done and get back into the information.